Do you want to know how to increase your sexual pleasure if you suffer from pelvic pain, or even how to choose the right lube? Watch this Instagram live and find out this and so much more. Hi, my name's Laura, and on this channel, I help you gain optimal health through knowledge and movement. Hello, everyone. We'll let a few more people join. Oh, I'm so happy to see everyone coming in. It's been so lovely chatting with all of you today. Where's everyone coming from? I'm in Canada right now. I sort of booked myself for a lot of different travels. I went to the Bahamas to visit my friends and do a little girls trip. We've got a Minnesota person in there. Oh, you're probably got a lot of snow. And then I went to Utah. Oh, we have a Texas. Love it. Maine. I'm probably not that far away from you because I'm in Montreal, Wisconsin. Oh, thank you so much for joining me all across the United States. I absolutely love it. I am so excited to be chatting with everyone on here. I want you all to remember, hello Florida, Newfoundland. Wow, that's awesome. I want everyone to remember that over this next hour, we are going to really create a safe space. And I think that in creating a safe space, I like to have a few rules, okay? This might be a little bit interesting and different, seeing that we are completely on a social media platform. And one of the rules is when someone shares something, to keep it private. So I'm not necessarily going to be asking you to share something, but maybe something comes up for you in sharing the questions that you submitted, which you can still submit your questions at the Clitoris Collective. Go ahead and direct message me. I'm not going to be sharing names or anything, but if something comes up, let's just keep it to this group, okay? To these people who showed up in this live, because it can be very nervous. It can create some nerves when we share things. So let's just practice creating that safe space for ourselves and for others, okay? I am really, really excited to share about the Clitoris Collective because I really think that it is an idea that is inclusive of everyone. So when I say inclusive of everyone, where my background is I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist. So I have a lot of practice talking to people about things that are oftentimes really private. So I talk about what's your urinary function, what's your bowel function, how's your back feeling, how's your stomach feeling, what's your sexual life like, are you able to achieve orgasm and feel sexy in the way that you've always been, or has that changed for you? And I've found that as I talk to amazing people about these really private areas, I started to feel like I was talking to my best friends, because you have to be vulnerable when you share these different things. And we have to get real really, really, really quick. And I was hearing the same thing back with patients. And so I wanted to create a group that gave you amazing information on how to improve your life, whether it is getting in exercise, getting in whether that's flexibility or strength training. Also talking about ways that you can incorporate vibrators into your life, or different supports for intercourse or sexual positions. I want to be here as a resource for you so that any question that you maybe don't have a safe person to talk to about, you can find it here within this group. So we are going to be covering here in a few minutes some stretches, and we'll kind of ground with the breathing exercise as more people join. I want to remind you to join the email list. So when you join the collective, you are going to get several things for free. And I haven't announced this yet on Instagram, but I will. So you guys are here to hear it first. So when you join the collective, and what that means is follow me on Instagram, and also go ahead and join the newsletter, the email list, which I've given swipe up links for. When you join both of those, you're going to get 5 free amazing stickers. They're super, super cute. I've created these clitorises that are so adorable, and they're going off and having adventures. You also are going to get entry into my seminar that I'm going to be holding this spring. I'm so excited. It's valued at $275, and you're going to get into it for free, which is amazing. Okay, so I can't wait for you guys to join, and I'm really excited. So let's go ahead, and you're kind of coming at a downward angle from me. So I think I'm going to come down a little bit. Perfect. So first, let's go ahead and just take a moment before we dive in to do one of my favorite things, which is breathing. Okay, I talk about breathing all of the time, and prior to us walking through what this sexual orientation, sexy affirmations, all of that stuff, we're going to go ahead and ground ourselves. So wherever you are, if you're sitting, if you're standing, no matter what you're doing, I want you to go ahead and ground in. So right now I'm kneeling, so I'm going to start from a kneeling standpoint, then I'll talk about sitting and standing. Okay, so if you're kneeling, I want you to ground through your shins, feeling the floor on your shins. If you're sitting, I want you to feel your sits bones sinking deeply into the ground, feeling that firmness. Maybe you're sitting on a soft surface or a hard surface. Really feel yourself in this moment, okay? If you're standing, ground in all 4 corners of your feet. Really feel your toes, spread them nice and wide, maybe scrunch them and then place them down. You can open your eyes or close your eyes for these next instructions, but I want you to inhale deeply through your nose and then exhale slowly through your mouth. Inhaling deeply through your nose, exhaling slowly through your mouth. Find your nice, gentle, slow breathing rhythm. And as you do that, find gratitude for yourself as you are giving yourself time to be vulnerable. Whether you share a question or don't, you have shown up in a space that is often taboo and uncomfortable. Inhale the support of the group. Exhale any standards that you feel that you've had to wear or carry with you today. You are a beautiful, amazing human who is full of power and potential. You deserve all of the good things that come your way. And when life hands you stresses, you're able to rise to the challenge with resiliency, joy, fortitude, and kindness. Inhale your power and confidence. Exhale anything that does not serve you. Perfect. Amazing. Thank you. Okay. So let's come back to this present moment. I'm going to wait a few more minutes before I dive into the questions, but I wanted to take some time to also show you one of our most favorite things and something that is highlighted quite often through the Clitoris Collective and through the blog. So I did a while back a blog post a podcast with Detoxing with Danny, where I talked about different stretches that I do prior to intercourse, right? So I'm vulnerable on here as well, and I wanted to share some of those with you as we talk through different things, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this chair on back. Bear with me. I'm in my lovely AirBnB here, okay? So as part of the Clitoris Collective, like I said, one of the things that we want to share with you is how can you work on things that are important to you. So I know this is a little bit of an odd angle. Let me go ahead and try and put you up a little bit higher. You guys are so awesome. Like I said, I'm in an Airbnb. Go ahead and plug my computer in. Let's see, am I upside down? Oh, there we go. All right. Am I upside down to you guys here? If you could let me know that would be amazing, because I want to show you and take you through some stretches to help see time. Oh, I am upside down. Oh my goodness. I'm so silly. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead. And there we go. Thanks, guys. Okay, so one of the big things that is really, really important is making sure that you're doing some stretches. So opening our hips when it comes to all of the sexy time stuff that I'm talking about is really, really huge. So you can watch me or you can try with me, but one of my favorite stretches to do is actually a crescent lunge, okay? So what you do when you're getting into a crescent lunge is if you're familiar with yoga, that's where I get the terminology, but it also can be known as runner's lunge, okay? So stretching like this, or even taking a pillow, placing it under your knee, kneeling down easy way to stretch and open up the front of the body, okay? So I'm kind of an anatomy nerd. I'll face you here. And as I come forward like this, many of the nerves that serve the front of my thigh and actually into my groin and pelvic floor region come right through here, okay? So if we're wanting to really improve and optimize our sexual appreciation, we want to make sure that we're getting opening through the front of the body. One, it allows us to get into positions where the front of our leg has to be flexed, okay? But two, it really helps to open up your nervous system so that you can have the nerves and blood flow to your groin area for sexy time, okay? So growing up, I have always been very intrigued by magazines like Cosmopolitan, Men's Health, things like that, where they have all of these amazing attention-grabbing titles where it's like, do this for more sex and all of that. And one of the questions that I actually had come through was talking about strengthening our pelvic floor, which I'll make sure to address later. But the thing that I responded to this individual with is strength is good, but flexibility is king. And I love, someone just said they love the phrase sexy time. I think it's great because in society, we often think that sex is penis and vagina or things like that. And I just really have changed my mindset to really be inclusive of all of the things, whether it's cuddling, kissing, those tender moments. Maybe it's time just with myself. And what are the things that get me going alone and the things that get me going with a partner? So I love that sexy time because it's much more playful. So we have that crescent lunge stretch, which you can find on my YouTube channel. I go through a bunch of modifications on how we open the front so we can get a nice stretch through our pelvis. Now, the second stretch that I want to cover is actually for our groin area. So this might take a little bit of maneuvering with the phone. I'll make sure not to go upside down again. That was really funny. And you're kind of going to get a crotch shot, but that's okay because we're being safe and vulnerable here. Okay, so this muscle is our adductor muscle, okay? Also another huge muscle that has really important nerves that go through it, and one of the nerves actually is the pudendal nerve. Again, you don't need to know these terms, but the pudendal nerve goes right to our clitoris, okay? So it's hugely important, and we want to make sure that it has space to move and groove so we can get those orgasms. So what I like to do is I turn my feet out to about 45-degree angle, okay? And then I let my knees drop. I'll scooch over here, drop and track over that second toe, okay? So you can practice this, and what you're going to do is you're going to drop down until you feel kind of a stretch right there in the groin, okay? So if I move on over here, I'm going down, I'm feeling a stretch in this groin. Sometimes I might even like to do a little bit of a like dropping my shoulder and pushing out through my leg here, dropping and pushing out through my leg. That can be a really, really nice way to open up that groin area, okay? Now, another way that you can do this stretch, which I don't want to say lazy. I like to say I enjoy conserving my energy. So I'm going to bring you down all the way to the ground. Okay. Now, the next way that you can do this, and probably my favorite, is called frog pose. So you can kind of see my toes are together, and I'm going and dropping my legs out. So I'm going to do it on the side like this. So I'm dropping down almost like I'm straddling the ground. Okay. So you can kind of see here, dropping down as if I'm straddling the ground, and then I just come onto my forearms. So I like this because you can slide your buns back towards your heels, but you can also come forward as well, which is really, really nice. Go ahead and move, you guys. You're almost going to fall, which is really, really nice because it's going to get all of those different muscles that come in and attach onto our inner groin. And again, we like this because if I have more range of motion in my hips, this allows me to get into some of these sexy positions, right? Okay, so we've got our different sexy positions, whether it's here, whether it's me laying on my tummy and my legs are out. Okay, that is a popular position for women when they're using vibrators. It's actually interesting. A lot of people think, oh, I use my vibrator laying on my back, but actually laying on your stomach and then kind of laying on top of the vibrator is a really popular position. So I really, really enjoy those two stretches, and personally, these are ones that I oftentimes get into pre-intercourse because sometimes I have some discomfort in my hip, and it's okay to say that and then try to think, gosh, how can I improve that? Because certainly when I was younger, I think like 16 or 17, whenever I had my first sexual experience, I didn't have pain in my hip. So I think that it's really, really great to do these stretches. I'm going to go through one more stretch, and then I'm going to go to your different amazing questions. And hello to everyone who is joining and staying. So I want to pull up my questions just so they're nice and close. Perfect. Okay, so next lovely, glorious stretch. Okay, so this one, I actually need a support piece. So you do not need big, fancy things to be able to help you to get into stretches, okay? You can use pillows, blankets, any of that. I'm going to go ahead and use my AirBnb pillow. Wouldn't it be funny if the person was watching, the Airbnb host? Also, don't judge because I haven't gotten a pedicure since I got back from the Bahamas. So this one is called a deep squat. So I like to put my heels on the pillow, and then I go ahead and I drop my bottom down like this. Okay, so when I'm doing this, I'm actually lengthening out my hamstring and also my quad muscles. Okay, in this position, I can go ahead and try to sit up, kind of nice and straight. The full pose would be to allow your heels to come down. Now, I haven't been spending a lot of time on my flexibility lately, so I'm pretty darn tight. And that's fine. I've been that way kind of my entire life, and when I work on it, I get better, but I haven't been working on it. So I put this here, I allow my chest to kind of come up, and I can, again, I'm getting opening through my inner groin. Yep, I'm coming at you guys with another crotch shot, but that's okay. So I can stand up like this, okay, and then I just go ahead and drop on down. And this is really, really nice because it also kind of opens up my back and opens up my inner thighs as well. Okay, so the 3 stretches, we have Crescent, Frog, and then that's known as Garland pose. Okay, I had someone on here say that they love how kind I am to myself. Lauren, thank you. It is definitely something that I practice, and I really encourage you guys, when you're looking through the different stories today, to practice those affirmations, because that is really where I have learned how to be kind to myself. And also, one of the main things that I want to offer through the Clitoris Collective. So starting in March, I'm going to have blog posts that cover different exercise routines. I'm going to have yoga flow series that show different ways to modify exercises, because I think that through strength training, through flexibility training, through breath work, as we as women get to know ourselves better, that is where kindness and self-love and care can sprout from. And to really be a strong sexual being, you gotta love yourself. And maybe not love yourself. I don't necessarily wake up every day and I'm like, oh, Laura, I love you. But I do have appreciation. I have appreciation for what this body can do to me, or do for me. Now, let's go ahead and cover some of the amazing questions that have been coming in, okay? There is quite a few, so I definitely want to touch on them. Okay, so we have a question that came in that talked about recommendations for an individual or people who have endometriosis, and they're looking for different poses and lubes. So I'm going to assume that when you say poses, you're meaning yoga postures, but I'm also going to go ahead and pretend like that could be sexual positions as well. So first, let me quick share with everyone what is endometriosis. So endometriosis, if you don't know, is the inner lining of your uterus that can grow anywhere in the body with someone who has endometriosis. So it can grow inside their abdominal cavity, it could grow inside the wall of their uterus. And so think, if every time it's that time of the month, that wall has to thicken and shed. And if it's in your abdominal cavity, it can't really shed anywhere. Or if it's in your uterus, it thickens and it will expand, and it makes very, very painful cramps. So I don't have endometriosis, but I have always been someone who has had really, really heavy flow. My mom, when she started to go through menopause, she had extremely heavy flow. So even though this individual is asking from an endometriosis perspective, I think anyone who has period cramps, this is going to be good for you. So regarding poses, so one of my favorite poses, and I'm actually doing it right now, is I'm like this. This is called Sphinx pose. You can modify it by laying down like this. You could put a pillow under your chest, or you can come up like this. I have this shown on my YouTube under Sphinx pose. I really like that because it helps to gently lengthen out your front part of your abdomen, where we tend to hold a lot of our pain and tension. But I always think that it's important when you're doing postures or stretches to support yourself in them. So I really do not subscribe to the no pain, no gain mentality. The reason being is when your body feels pain, it will kick it into a fight or flight response. So I personally like to trick it by slowly and gently allowing it to open, by supporting it and letting it relax as you breathe, and then lengthening it a little bit more. Hence why all of my YouTube videos that are up now show ways to modify so that you can ease yourself into those positions. Lubes, I have a whole post on lubes. I actually have two posts. I have one that goes through different lubricants, and I have a second that explains lubes versus moisturizers. So personally, I like to actually have several different types of lubes. So you have your water-based lubes, you have your hybrids, and then you have your silicone-based lubes. So silicone-based lubes you cannot use with silicone toys or products. So if you are someone that likes to use vibrators, typically a good vibrator is going to be made from silicone. And if you use a silicone lube with a silicone vibrator, it'll break it down. So I personally like to have a silicone lube, and I like to have a water-based lube. Now, the nice thing about water-based lubes, especially the ones that I recommend on my site, which a lot are from the company Sliquid, are really great, and there's a coupon code on there too, but they're really great because they're completely free of glycerin and parabens. So glycerin can make you more prone to yeast infections, so it's good to try to get yourself a really, really good lube that's clear of all of those things, so that you can just clean up easier and all of that. Now, the silicone lube, a little goes a long way. So a water base you might have to apply more times. A silicone lube you actually just usually apply once and then it's good to go. It's also good if you're doing more sexy time in the bathtub. Also, I have a lot of individuals who have kiddos who will use lube and then a waterproof vibrator. The Lilo brand is really good for vibrators. Oh, I'm sorry. They won't do that in the bathtub. They will use the silicone lube if they're doing like partnered stuff in the bathtub. But if they're doing solo stuff, they'll go ahead and use that Lilo vibrator that's waterproof and it's quiet, which is a lot of times when parents can get some privacy is in the bathroom. So, next question. Recommendations for removing fear and anxiety from sex or sexual experience when penetrative sex is painful for you. So don't click out of here if you're someone who has not experienced fear or anxiety from painful sexual experiences or trauma, because I find that this is important for all people across the board, not just our sexual survivors and not just our individuals who have pain with intercourse. So first things first, if you have pain with intercourse or fear/anxiety around intercourse, find yourself a really good pelvic floor physical therapist. I haven't mentioned this on the takeover yet, but and I don't think I will for this one. But I am learning how to do telehealth for pelvic floor physical therapy. So basically, no matter what state you're in, as long as I'm licensed in that state, you can call in and we can work together, because a lot of this is education. So one of the biggest things that I think is important and ties in with my second tip of today, which was know what gets your motor going. So a lot of times in society where we are totally focused, like porn. And, you know, I think of 50 Shades of Grey, where he just like looks at her and she just starts orgasming, which is so silly. A lot of times people think like, oh my gosh, it's supposed to be 2 seconds and wham bam, thank you ma'am, I'm done. But that's not really how it works. And I think also, I know I have been told that women are like crock pots and men are like skillets, and we take forever, and there's all of this judgment and shame around, oh my gosh, what if I take too long, and what is too long, and all of these different things. So with the form, which I only gave you guys a small little teaser, my pleasure quizzes, or as I like to refer to them as like a choose your own adventure, what you can do is you put on there, what are the things that I really find sexy? So for me personally, I love kissing. I love kissing. I love hugging. If it's a partner thing. Now, if it's a solo thing, I love when I'm kind to myself, and what that means for me is putting lotion on my body and lighting a candle and getting it in a nice clean bed. That is the thing that sets the mood for my sexy time, whether it's soloed or whether it's with my partner. So with my partner, it might not be me putting on lotion and doing those things, but it is getting some cuddle time in. And so you can go through this pleasure quiz, and there's actually a penis owner version and a vagina owner version. So no matter what you identify as, I went with kind of the anatomical pieces you have. So for instance, it might be fun for Valentine's Day, if you do have a partner, you could give them a quiz and you can do your own quiz, and then you guys can switch. Or if you're not with a partner on Valentine's Day, still do the quiz for just yourself. It's so awesome. And it goes through how, like, okay, for instance, after you say what gets your motor going, then it asks, where do I like to be touched? Okay, so do I like to be touched at my nipples? Maybe yes, maybe no. Do I like now I have a vagina, so I'm talking from this standpoint. Do I like to be touched at my clitoris, my labia, my bum? Okay, so then with each one of those, there are descriptors that you can check for each single area. So say I say my clitoris. Do I prefer my right side more, my left side? Do I like firm pressure, light pressure, moderate pressure? Okay, what about speed? So you can go through and you can check all of these things, and then you can say, for me, sexy time takes 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 40 minutes, okay? So I have a little bit of a running joke with my partner that it takes me like 5 million hours. But what can I say? I love it. It's relaxing. I'm enjoying it. So why should I rush it? So I think that's really great to start the conversation, or at least to start getting your brain going on what are the things that are sexy and sexual. I personally have been doing a bunch of these would you rather quizzes. I don't know if you've seen them. The local coffee shop that I visit has this book, and it's super great. And one of the questions said, would you prefer to do, I think it was like food or music as a part of like sexy time or sexual arousal or something like that. And it was interesting because my boyfriend, he picked music and I picked food. And And he's like, oh, ick, food in the bedroom? Yuck, that would be sticky. But I was thinking it more as, think about if you were to eat a piece of chocolate and instead of scarfing it down, what if you really just let it melt in your mouth and thought about the different sensations and tastes that came through? Then what if you took like a delicious slice of mango and you ate that and you thought about the nice sweetness that came through that way? So I think that it can be really, really cool and different, but really knowing and identifying where your boundaries are and what your kind of vessel is or tolerance is your first step to really accessing that sexual power. Okay, so to bring it back to that question, I think that across the board, whether you've had pain with intercourse, had a bad experience, or you haven't, knowing what you like, what you don't like, and where your boundary is, and then being able to communicate that with someone, if it is a partnered situation, is what's going to help you start to build that trust and decrease that anxiety. Many times I find that both with pain with intercourse are just like, all right, let's lube it up and like drink some wine and hope it doesn't hurt. But that's not how we want you to approach these things. We want you to approach it with good communication so that you can say, hey, you know what, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable, let's back up, or let's go ahead and try this, and then give you some vocabulary around how you can describe how you like to be touched. Okay, so I just have to change my body position a little bit. Love laying on the floor, but it was just getting a little bit uncomfortable. I'm going to put you on the couch. Oh, this is so fun. Okay, next question. How do women find sex to be different in the postpartum stage after giving birth? So there's a couple of other questions there. And I'm going to start with this first one. Okay, so everyone can be a little bit different in the postpartum stage. I think some of it depends on how your delivery went. So did you have a tear with delivery, or was everything completely fine? So I think that's a huge part. Also, I think it's important to note that when you're breastfeeding, your estrogen stores actually go down and it can create some vaginal dryness. And so that can sometimes cause pain. Also, you're a brand new mom, and if you have a partner or if you don't have a partner, you're usually really tired and you maybe don't feel super great about your body. So those can be things that can come in. Now, I think it's important to note that everyone is different. And so some people feel phenomenal after delivery and some people don't. I think you need to meet yourself wherever you're at. And again, really, if you can, find the words and ways that you can communicate if you're communicating with a partner to let them know your comfort level. Now, if you're not with a partner, or maybe your partner is like, hey, I'm tired too, I'm not really wanting to experience, sexy time right now either, and you're wanting to explore with a vibrator, I think the important thing is to make sure everything's healed. And I personally think it is important to wait the 6 weeks. Those muscles got stretched out. If you had a vaginal delivery, there's lots of healing and swelling that needs to happen, and it is important to just give our body a break. When we have an orgasm, that increases blood flow into that area, which is great and phenomenal, but in increasing that blood flow to the area, when we're trying to heal things, we sometimes don't want to increase that flow there. We want to kind of keep it calm and and rested and chill. Now, I had one thing come through that says the intimacy conversation with Danny. Yep, that's detoxing with Danny. You can find a breakdown of that podcast on my website under the blogs. You can look in the older posts. You can also go to her website, and it's under the podcasts. And yes, our audience and my audience, this Claris Collective, is really mind, body, and spirit. How can we fill these cups so that we can be just holistically happy? And I just really want the Claris Collective to be a group and a community where you can share things that are often private and not talked about, but you can share it without shame. Okay, so we have a question on here about Maca Powder. So I have to admit, I don't know that much about Maca Powder. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a Google. Because after all, Dr. Google is on everything. So we'll go ahead and check that out. Now, as a physical therapist, I can't suggest or recommend any prescription medicines. I can't prescribe anything. I do think that it is really, really good to kind of tune in with your body. So I first found Danica actually through Whole30, and then I stayed with her for the self-care and all of the gloriousness that she shares that way. And I know that she does supplements, and she does them through her functional nutritionist. I do supplements as well. I have utilized my doctor to figure out what are the best supplements for me, as well as researching some things and just kind of seeing how I feel. So it looks like maca is typically consumed in powder form, and that it has a lot of nutrition. And on here, it talks about increasing libido in men and women and increasing fertility, possibly even relieving symptoms of menopause. So I think my opinion is that you should see what's right for you, but I always first try doing things like the mindfulness, the meditation, the stretching, the strengthening, the flexibility prior to doing a supplement. So I think sometimes these things promise a lot, and everyone is very, very different. So I strongly suggest trying naturally the things that work, and then going from there. Now, another question that I got was if I had seen the Netflix Paltrow documentary specifically on female orgasm. And the answer to that is I haven't. I have meant to, and I meant to download it for my trips, but I just didn't get a chance. But I have followed Gwyneth, and I know a lot about what she talks about. Now, she also talked about her, the yoni egg. So it's this jade egg that you can place in your vagina, and you want to tighten and hold it. And you can even, there are some people that talk about tightening and relaxing it. And that helps to train the muscles to improve orgasm. So let me first touch on the yoni egg piece. So there are a lot of things out there that focus on strengthening. I think my challenge with promoting things that focus on that is that oftentimes we end up just squeezing and holding our pelvic floor for dear life with these different products because they're either too heavy and our body isn't ready for them, or we're not coordinated enough to do them. So prefer to have people just work on gently contracting and relaxing their pelvic floor and getting in tune with that full range of motion when they're laying down or sitting, and just gently doing throughout the day. Now, if you have urinary incontinence or fecal incontinence, strengthening might be something that you need to do, but I would recommend reaching out to a pelvic floor physical therapist to get guidance on that, because sometimes it's not a strength problem, it's a coordination problem. Think about when you first hop on a bike after it's been a long winter. Maybe the person that's joining us from Texas doesn't have that problem, but think about when you haven't done something for a long time and then you go ahead and do it, that coordination isn't always there. So let's go ahead. We have a little bit more time left, about 10 minutes. So if you have any more questions, you could put them in the comment box here, just to make sure that I get them. And let me just check here. Okay. So what we're going to do, again, however your posture is, right now I'm sitting on the floor. I've moved lots since I have been here, but if you're standing, laying down, that's too. So as you sit here, stand or lay down, I want you to focus on the space that's right in between your sits bones, okay? So your sits bones are those two beautiful bones that you can put pressure on. Sometimes, honestly, it's hard for me to visualize where that space is, so I just kind of focus and think about it. It's easy for me to picture. I'm not sure if it's easy for others to picture. Maybe message me on the Clitoris Collective and let me know if you can picture your vagina, because it is a cue I use, and so it'd be nice to know if it works or not. So, thinking about your vagina, I want you to focus gently tightening or closing your vagina as if you're squeezing around a tampon. Hold that. Can you count out loud to 5 while holding that? And then relax. Okay? So now, when you relax your pelvic floor, what I feel is almost an unfolding, okay? Or a dropping sensation. Now we're going to try to do the opposite, okay? So we're going to bear down. So very gently, you hold your breath and kind of increase pressure in your tummy. You're going to bear down and relax. And I felt like my pelvic floor was unfolding even more, okay? So these are the ranges of motion of your pelvic floor. It moves up towards your head, and it moves down towards your feet, okay? Or towards the ground. If we only work on moving up towards our head, we can become inflexible. And if we're inflexible, just like I was talking about with the stretching to the hips, and doing those different yoga poses, then those nerves can't move and glide. The blood flow can't come in to our vulva, to our clitoris, which actually has erectile tissue in it. And so we don't get that expanding and contracting, which allows for arousal and orgasm. Okay? So I really hate to encourage people to go out and purchase vaginal weights, because I think that if you are having any difficulty with achieving orgasm, you really need to spend some time focusing in on this gentle tightening, releasing, deep breathing, to figure out and tune in with your body and your think it's a really great place to start with the pleasure quiz, which you get for free when you join the Clitoris Collective. You get the full versions. And I think it's also great, and what I'll be offering is in the future is doing some different guided meditations. Sorry, my nose itches. Someone must be thinking me. So doing some guided meditations and things to the sensations in your body. So much in our society, we are really just go, 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 and we oftentimes are plugged into our phones or plugged into work and being productive, and we are really focused on doing all of the things. And so oftentimes sex becomes something that's just a checkbox. And it, again, doesn't matter if it's a checkbox because you have a partner or if it's a checkbox because you're alone and masturbating feels great. I just think that taking some time to really tune in to what you like, what brings you joy, what makes you feel good and sexy will really, really help with you to connect with that inner sexual power, okay? And I think that that's going to be the best. Now, I have a person that just popped on here that said they signed up for the Clitoris Collective and they haven't gotten the email yet. We'll be sending out that email tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we're going to do it tomorrow, or yes, we'll make sure that it's done before Thanksgiving, before Valentine's Day. We'll make sure it's done before Valentine's Day. I think we just want to make sure that everyone gets the information through this Instagram takeover and live, and then we'll send out an email blast to everyone. Also, in case you maybe didn't get it, you can always message me and check your spam mail. So for whatever reason, this is my second time that I've kind of done an email blast and sign up for everyone. A lot of stuff went to spam, so make sure you check your spam and junk mail. Now, it is coming to the close of this amazing Instagram Live. Thank you for everyone who joined. If you missed any of this, this is going to be available for 24 hours. I also actually tried to record it on my computer, so it will probably be made into a YouTube video. So I got a lot of requests last time to be able to see this. Also, I just want to say, if there's any individual in your life who you feel might need this information, please share the Instagram page, my website. If there are any questions you have or blogs that you would like to be written, please reach out. Again, this is not Laura Meihofer's community. This is the Clitoris Collective. It's everyone's community, and I'm so appreciative to start this conversation and bring female power and sexual appreciation and all of the things that we're glorious and wonderful for into the forefront, because we shouldn't have to live in shame. And yeah, I just think that this is the time for change, and I'm really excited that you guys joined in. So I am getting a little reminder that I have literally 2 minutes left. So as this counts down, is there anything else that anyone has any questions on? Thank you. Allison just popped in and said thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, all of these things are so taboo to talk about. I'm wondering, can I flip this around? Yes, I can. So let me show you guys. I'm really excited. So when you sign up, and you follow me on the Clitoris Collective, I have these stickers that you're going to get for free, and if you can share them, that would be amazing. But I love this. This has been an idea I've been thinking about, and I have 1 minute left. So that is a little clitoris, and she's going on different adventures. So I just think it's fun. I'm probably going to be doing some t-shirts and things like that in the future, but that's just one of them. And yes, it's great. So I don't want to be cut off. I want to say thank you so much to everyone. You're all so very amazing, and I look forward to continuing the conversation. Have a wonderful evening. Connecting to your sexual power is as simple as starting a breathing practice. Watch this short guided meditation on how to unlock your pleasure. I'll see you over there.